spend more time in here than I do in the house. Hi, I'm Murray. I'm a spray painter panel beater by trade. This is a HZ Premier that my parents brought brand new, and I've just recently finished a 3-year rebuild on it.
Do you get out on it much?
I hadn't for a fair while. Went up to Exmouth and back 4 weeks ago.
That's Fat Boy, is it? Or
A Fat Bob.
Fat Bob.
Memory foam cushion on there and put my swag on, leaned against the swag.
Yep.
Andrew used to have a Benelli.
Yeah, and I got Honda and a couple other bits and pieces. They're long gone now, though.
Yeah, I didn't have one for years. But we were driving down the street one day, because every time Harley went past, I'd say what it was. And she said to me, she said, "Are you going to buy another Harley?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, go and do it. Shut up, will you?"
So tell us a bit about the history of this one.
It was built in the 12th of 77, and Dad picked it up brand new on the 7th of the 1st of 78.
So is it a HX or HZ?
HZ. It's been in the family all its life. Still have all the documentation for it and what have you. He ordered it with a 308 Turbo 400 in it and a 10 volt diff. And then he put the aftermarket air conditioner in it and power steering on it. The only thing I've changed on it that when Dad owned it is the wheels, which I can still put the original Premier wheel trims over the top to keep it original. And apart from that, it's as it was when he hopped out of it. I've just spent 3.5 years rebuilding it, obviously.
Yeah.
Pulled it all apart. Every nut and bolt's been out of it, and apart from the chassis rails and the diff bolts that are coming out, winter coming. Rebush all that.
You definitely don't see a lot with vinyl roofs anymore, and it's good to see that it's been all redone and it looks like the day it came out of the showroom.
Yeah, well, when it was new it was just all brown.
Yeah.
And Dad thought it was too much colour, so he put the vinyl roof on it, so try and keep it like it was, and a lot of people in town know it, because it's been here all its life.
Yeah.
It's got the original number plates. There's a few bits and pieces on it that I'd like to tidy up and get new bits and pieces like some mouldings and stuff like that that are dented, but it'll happen somewhere down the line.
Yeah. So this is the original colour and it's just been painted in 2-pack?
Yep, painted in 2-pack. I did think about painting it in acrylic because they did come, that's what they were painted in originally.
Yeah.
Being a spray painter, I thought I can't be bothered, so I painted it in 2-pack.
Yeah.
So you did all that yourself?
Yes, I've done everything on it myself apart from wheel alignment, the trim work, which is the only thing that inside that's original is the back seat. So the new wood trim put in it, new covers on the front seats, new carpets. Pulled the motor out, just pulled all the hardware off that because it's only done 80,000 Ks, which I've got the documents for that. And cleaned it all up, painted it, had all the alloy cleaned and stuff, and put it all back together and put it back in. Didn't touch the gearbox, just cleaned it and put that back in. I'm actually a panel beater by trade. Finished my apprenticeship and I've been painting ever since.
Did it have much rust in it?
Just the normal rust. I had to replace this plenum on this side, a little bit down the bottom of the pillars. Bottom of the sill panels were rusted because of the chrome mouldings. It actually rusted from the outside in because they get full of dirt.
Traps it all?
Yep. and a little bit on the dog leg on the other side, and just bits and pieces like that. It wasn't really bad, but so I just put half seals on it to keep all the original studs along there for the clips and stuff. I couldn't see the point in putting whole seals on it.
Yep. Were they like a rare spares thing, or is it something you had folded up?
Just had them folded up. The rare spare clown panel there that fits reasonably all right, but I did it a few years ago for Mum, and then when Mum finished driving it, it was de-licensed in 2014, and it sat in her carport, and the driver's side was on the weather side, and that actually rusted out again, so I got another one put on there, and still got the same exhaust system on it that Dad put on it 30 odd years ago.
Yep.
Passed away in 93, apart from the tailpipes, they're new, all the rest of it's still original. That's when I say original, what Dad put on there's stainless steel.
Yep.
So now I've put 2.5 inch stainless tailpipes on it, which to me, stainless speaks for itself.
Definitely.
After all them years, something you don't have to keep replacing.
Definitely outlasts the mild steel, because you've got to remember how much condensation sits in it when you're not driving it. And
had all the bumpers re-chromed and spent a fair bit of money with rare spares. Rubbers and Bailey channels and stuff. There is some genuine GMH rubbers and that on it, because I was buying parts for it 20 odd years ago, because I knew this car was going to be mine, because Dad had 4 sons there is in the family, and the other 3 all had a car that Dad brought brand new, and this one was mine, and it's the only one that's on the road.
Yeah. No, it's just good seeing so much history, and obviously in a car that hasn't done a lot of Ks as well, and very rare.
When I insured it, they were asking me questions about it, and I said it was the one owner. They said, gee, that's good. And I said I had the original purchase papers and that for it. Really? And then she asked me some other questions about it. She said, is it licensed? I said, no, it's not licensed, but I can tell you the number plate that'll be on it. She said, what's that? And I told her. She said, is that the original number plate? I said, yes. She said, really? So it's pretty original as being rebuilt from factory.
Yeah. So is it running the factory headers, or has it got extractors on it?
No, just all standard. That's the engine bay.
Very neat. Is this like a rare spares product?
Yeah, that's a rare spares.
So is this a GM air conditioner system, or is it
aftermarket?
Yeah.
It's not a box unit that goes under the dash, it goes right across.
Okay.
So when you look in there, it sort of looks like it sort of should be there.
Yep.
Instead of just a box.
Probably one of the coolest fridges I've seen.
I like that. Had a lot of people want to buy it. That's a frying pan on the top.
Oh, okay.
There used to be Dad's beer fridge in your shed.
So does it dispense beer out the side?
No. Unfortunately.
I was going to say that'd be dangerous. As much as I like seeing old Holdens modified, you just can't beat original.
No. After being in the family for so long, I couldn't butcher it.
Yeah.
It'd just be a shame. It'd be a waste of a good car.
Yeah. Did you build this shed, or was it already there? Or?
No, built this. There was nothing on the block apart from the house when we brought it. That was a couple of big trees. There was one here somewhere, and there was one down the back corner over there somewhere. And the lady that lived next door, she was horrified when I pulled them down. But this was the first thing that was done, was the shed.
Yeah.
Somewhere to put all my rubbish.
Yep. Got a bit of memorabilia on the back, and
bit of junk laying around and stuff. And old friends and like up there, that just got the whales up with. Right.
You spend a lot of time in here then?
Yes, a hell of a lot of time. I spend more time in here than I do in the house.
I see you've got a good TV set up and everything.
Yep. It's plugged into my bus, works off the antenna on the bus.
Okay. Get out travelling a bit in the bus?
We used to, but when the wife got crook, we probably haven't used for a couple of years. So she passed away 4.5 months ago. So
sorry to hear that.
She had ovarian cancer. So it just sort of sits there at the moment.
Yeah.
And then working on this. I was down here every weekend working on it. Didn't come down at night times or anything.
Yeah, our compressor stopped Andrew from working in the shed at night time. It's too noisy.
Oh, they're good people around here. It's just that I'd like to make things a little bit quieter, you know. So,
Yeah.
oh, what's he over there doing there? I don't know how some of them put up with the noise I was making panel on this and grinding stuff,
Yeah.
welding and stuff. I borrowed Paul's welder, got a little CIG MIG,
Yep.
borrowed that and did all the repairs. And
Yeah, where the shed that I built, the ute, it was in the back corner of the block, and there was literally 3 houses backing onto the shed.
Yep.
So I could go out there until about 6:30, and after that, it was just
Yep.
you got to obviously be respectful. Like you can't.
Got a decent sized shed now.
Yeah, it's I think it's took me 3 houses to get there, but just being able to have the space to do what I need to do is.
Yeah.
Did you get the chroming done locally, or?
No, Ultra Chrome in Perth did it for me. We're talking to Perth, and they're actually probably bumpers that were only 3 months old when I got them.
Yep.
When these were new, the bumpers had a problem with them going rusty on the tops.
Yep.
And they used to take them off and replace them. And the story I heard, they were meant to go back to the factory to be re-chromed. And I heard there was a box full of them down at the local holding dealer, Manly Samuels. And I asked about them to a bloke I knew down there. And he said, I don't think so. I said, well, I've been lied to because the person that told me had actually seen them. So he said, well, if they're there, he said, you can have them. I said, I only want 2. I just want a front one and a back one for a 8Z Premier.
Yep.
Half an hour later, back he comes, 2 brand new bumpers. So I've been there for 20 years or more.
Yeah, right. So do they come with the overriders, or?
No. I'm not sure if they're an aftermarket thing on the Premiers or if all the Premiers had it. I think they might have been
Like a NASCO accessory, or?
But they're very hard to find. But I believe there's a place in Brisbane, I think it is, that will actually chrome die cast.
Okay.
So, front ones aren't too bad, the back ones are a bit tarnished and that, but you know, you've got to remember it is 47 years old.
Yeah.
So what car did you have before this one?
Didn't.
You didn't?
Just everyday runners. Never had a collectible before. And this one's never ever to be sold. It's got to stay in the family.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, do I want to sell it or how much it's worth, I just say, it doesn't matter how much it's worth, it's not for sale unless your surname's the same as mine. Yeah. When we bought this, the missus didn't have a licence, so and living out there, it was pretty hard on me, so we bought this, and then not long after we bought it, she said, oh, a little question I asked her. I said, what's that? She said, will you teach me to drive? I said, yeah. So I taught her to drive. Not that she drove everywhere. She'd go to town along Middle Beach Road and park in the back streets, but she got around all right. Original wheel cover. Unfortunately, I put that jack sticker in the wrong spot. I forgot. And I put it there, and then that's got a piece of masonite that goes in the centre of the wheel, under the wheel cover.
Yeah.
I'll paint that because I painted the jack, painted everything, and I looked on, that sticker's meant to go on here. Oh, that's where it's staying now. The HQs were on the boot, I think, my memory. So
I love the smell of these cars.
this
So you're just going in to sniff it?
Well, I was just looking at the boot light.
this had when it was new, that had it end rusted. So all this here is what they used to call the bottom side. They used to put it underneath the cars, and it was black, thick stuff. And they did all inside the boot and that. And when I cleaned it, took it outside and jacked it up and pressure cleaned it all underneath and that. And I thought, I ain't getting under here and cleaning this off, so I'll just give it a coat of satin black over everything. It's just too hard to get off. So that's what explains why I've got the carpets inside here.
Oh, yeah.
Just to tidy it up a bit instead of carpeting the whole lot. There's still original paint. Didn't paint them.
Yep. Did you have all the tail light housings re-chromed? Or?
No. I've got about 6 sets of them.
Yeah.
That's a good one, a really good one, that one. This one here is a little bit tarnished.
Yeah.
Kept my eye open. That's the best one. Just left one I had.
Yep.
Paul was there one day. He looked at the tail light lenses and he goes, that one's faded compared to that one. So I fixed that problem. I just ordered 2 rare spare ones and put them there. I said, my tail light's alright now. Yeah, what'd you do? I said, I just ordered 2 new rare spare ones so you can't pick the shit out of it. And he tells me, you be right down at coffee and cars when it's blowing and that and the dust is going around everywhere because your car's rusty brown anyway. You won't see the dust on it.
Yeah.
Little bugger.
Yeah, black cars like what he's got, and that's why he avoids it most of the time because you get down there and his car ends up being orange.
Little bugger he brought, was looking at it and he comes and saw me, he said, how much is it going to cost me to paint a Alex Trane? I said, oh, yeah, it's so much. About my labour, and a few weeks later he rings me up and says, where are you? I said, I'm at home, why? He said, I'm coming around to see you. He come roaring up there. What the fuck's that? He come in the driveway and he said, oh, I just brought this. I said, oh yeah, okay. So that was a bare metal respray and stuff as well. And he was going to paint it back orange, which in a way I'm glad he didn't because there's so many orange ones around. Yeah. And then he said he wanted it black and yeah, thank you very much. It's one of the hardest ones to do to make them, you know, nice, look really nice and straight.
Yeah.
What I use to rust-proof this is a product called Tickle.
Yep.
It's made by Valvoline. It's a wax coating.
Okay.
It's pretty thick. If you want to spray it, you put a bit of Prepsol with it. You just thin it down a bit and spray it.
Yeah.
I believe it was made originally, or the story I was told, for engine reconditioners, putting on cranks and then after they'd ground them and what have you. So I've done the bus with it, and that bus has been done for must be 15 years, and there's only a couple of little bits of rust coming out in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good product. Yeah, it's good. Like when I patch some of the doors that had a little bit of rust in the corners, I actually didn't cut the skin off around the corners. Purposely just cut the outside out where all the rust was, and then patched it so that it's got the original spot weld marks and that in it.
Yeah.
Then I just got a brush with some Tickle on it, got in there and I brushed it all over all the bottom parts where they rust normally and stuff, and then when I was putting them back together I squirted stuff all through them and had a good dose of it all through this. Borrowed a pressure pot off a bloke with a big flexible one on, done all inside the sill panels, all around inside the roof before the hood trim went in it.
Yep, make it last for another 100 years.
Well, I did Paul's Trane the same.
Yep.
So did you do all the work on this car in this shed?
Yes, apart from painting the outside. I actually painted the boot out here in the shed there. Everything else, apart from the final, all the coats on the outside of it was painted here. I actually painted the roof with marine paint.
Okay.
Because automotive paint, if you say paint a well-body ute or whatever and you put a tarp on them, they blister because of the moisture and that on them.
Yeah.
And if you paint something with automotive paint and you put it in the water and leave it in there, it'll blister. Marine paint doesn't do that. It won't blister, so if there's any moisture gets under it, it's not going to blister and start rusting. And I did the same thing with my bus when I all around the windscreen opening and that, painted all that with marine paint and stuff, trying to eliminate rust problems.
Yep.
Took me a long time to work that out. And another tip is with painting, which I didn't realise, as I was doing this, I was priming panels up when I'd finish them and put them away. And I was talking to the paint rep one day about it, and he said, oh, how long away from painting are you? I said, oh, not far. I said, I've just got to rub it and paint it. He said, how long's it been in primer for? I said, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years, some of it, whatever. He said, well, you're going to have to re-prime it. I said, why is that? He said, because the primer's gone too hard and the paint won't stick to it. So I re-primed all the panels on the outside, re-rubbed them all, and then painted it.
Yeah.
Apparently it's 3 or 5 days before you should rub them down and re-prime. You've got up to 3 to 4 days to paint them after putting primer on.
Is that just etch, or is that with Epitech as well? Or?
No, that's with your 2-pack primers.
How long long would it take to paint something like this?
I did it in stages. Paul's Trana, I spent 100 hours on it. I don't know how many hours I've spent on this. I didn't want to know.
Now, it's a very long process, but the end results are obviously worth it.
Well, that's it. You know, when I work in shops and there's apprentices there and whatever, I just say to them, you got to think of this job, or any job you do, it's like building a house. If you don't do your foundations properly, the roof's just going to fall down. And it's the same with everything you do. If you don't prep cars properly and paint them and properly and all that sort of stuff, you're just wasting your time, because down the track it's just going to all start stuffing up on you.
Yep. Working towards retirement? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to become a drawer.
Okay.
Drawer of the pension.
Yeah. So, would this be classed as your dream car, or?
Yeah, I'd say go pretty close to being my dream car.
Aside from this one, what would you pick as your ultimate project car, even finished car?
Probably something like a HG Ute.
You'll have to come and check out the one in our shed.
Which I used to own one. It used to be my brother's before I brought it. It was a Oasis Dream one, genuine 253 3-speed on the tree from the factory, and we did it up, place down here, Melbourne Engineering had it. It got a red sticker on it, and Wayne brought it, and we did it all up, painted it cyan blue, had a Premier front in it, had all brown bucket seats and door trims and stuff in it, had all the side mouldings, wheel arch mouldings and that off a Premier on it, and it had extractors, and it was a very nice ute. We went from here to Queensland in it for a cousin's wedding through Darwin. Then we went back to Darwin and worked in Darwin for 18 months, and then we come home. Wayne decided to sell it and I brought it, and Dad also built us a long range fuel tank to put in it, which used to go in where the station wagon or sedan seats go under the floor, so you couldn't even see it. Put a proper filler neck in it, and it's had a 308 diff in it by memory, and 3,000 revs. It was doing 80 mile an hour. Used to just burr it on.
Yep.
When I brought it, I put an auto in it, and I used to call it the slot car, because you fill it up with fuel and you just sit on the road like that, 80 mile an hour to Perth, and it just sit there like this going around the corners, and the pipes used to come out from the back wheels. It had extractors on it and a 350 dolly, and that was it. I remember going to Perth one night and this car come around this bend and flashed its lights at me, so I took my foot off and it just burgled when you just take your foot off it. Went around the corner, there's this copper booking somebody, and he just stared at me as I went past, up around the next corner, and I just put my foot into it, so I would have heard it going up.
G was it, or HT?
HT, drum brakes, power drum brakes. They didn't want to license it because they reckon it should have had discs on it, whatever, at the RTA down here, and they found out, yeah, okay, well, discs were optional extras in them days.
Yep, a lot of the time with the drum brake fronts, they weren't boosted either, so.
Yeah. That's it. Another dream car I'd like is what Dad had before this.
What's that?
He had a HQ SS.
Very nice.
Let us alone. And when he sold it, it had 34,000 Ks on it.
My mate has...
Miles? Or Ks? Miles, I think they were back in them days.
Yeah, my mate has two of them, and one was completely original 253 4-speed, and he was moving up to Broome, and he wanted to take it over to South Australia because his parents live in South Australia, so just to store it over there while he's up in Broome. But yeah, we jumped in it and drove it across the Nullarbor, and took us 4 days and camped along the way, and it's one of the best trips I've ever done. So, and that was the infrared, the orange one.
Oh yeah, infrared, yep. Only ever come out in 3 colours.
Yeah.
Ultraviolet, infrared, and let us alone.
Yeah.
And even as a kid, when Dad brought it, I remember sitting in the back of it, looking at it. The whole interior were black, with the houndstooth checkered seats, and the centre pillar, the B pillars in them, were painted the same colours outside the car. And I used to sit there and think, why haven't they covered that with vinyl or blackened it?
Yeah.
So every time I see one now, first thing I go and look for, is it an original? Is that pillar the same colour as the outside of the car?
Because they were just a Belmont, and they were basically dressed up as the SS.
Yeah, apparently they had a heap of 253 4-speeds sitting there, and they didn't know what to do with them, so they did them up as an SS.
Yeah.
And they sold like hotcakes. Dad, the first one, there was only 2 of them ever come to Albany. They didn't know what colours they were going to be. The first one was a infrared one. Dad drove that and said, yeah, okay, I'll have the next one so long as it's green. And the next one that turned up was green.
Yeah.
So he brought it.
Yeah, from memory, both of the ones he's got were, so one he completely restored,
Yep.
and that ended up with 350 in it. I think he's actually got an LS in it now because it wasn't completely matching numbers when he got it.
Yep.
But the other one is completely rigid edge.
Yep.
Yeah, shout out to Steve. What was your first ever car?
It was a HT panel van, 186 round the tree.
Yep. Windowless or?
Had one in each side.
Yep.
Yep. And that also belonged to Wayne before I brought that.
Okay.
So I did a bit of damage to that in its time. Smashed it up a few times and rolled it over, and
I think that's a given with first cars.
yeah. So this, yeah, that's square and that's square. That's round and that's round.
Yep.
You'll notice this all the time now. People put these on back to front.
Yeah.
So the round's over here, or one's around here and the other one's right. Even when I'm looking on car sales and stuff like that, headlight rims wrong.